Hello once again. We have come almost to the end of our program for Virtual World's Best Practices in Education. Our closing keynote speaker probably needs no introduction. J.J. Jegathesan is known most commonly in Second Life as J.J. Zifanwe. J.J. holds a Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Western Australia, UWA, majoring in Management and Marketing. He has, since 2008, been manager of the School of Physics at UWA and is the founder and leader of the UWA Presence in 3D Virtual Worlds. His research interests extend to looking at groups of artists, filmmakers, and educators through the lens of communities of practice. He is also interested in investigating how perceptions of institutions when experienced through virtual technologies are able to impact on and influence perceptions of the real. He was shortlisted into the top 10 for the 2010 International Linden Prize for his work using virtual technologies and was a review panel member for the Australian Journal of Educational Technology, Springer, United Kingdom. He was also an associate editor for the International Journal of Interdisciplinary Social Sciences. Everyone, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our closing keynote, J.J. Jegathesan.
Thank you so much, Letty. Thank you so much, everyone. It's fantastic to be here in this audience, and it's a great honor. First of all, I'd like to apologize for how my avatar is positioned. Don't have a pose ball, and I'm trying to focus on the screens as well at the same time. So I do apologize for my avatar, who might move around a little bit more than I intend. Well, the topic of my talk is building global community through virtual worlds. But one of the how I start with is to speak about the journey. Like most of us who use virtual worlds and have been using this for some time, will have come to realize that the journey as to how we've come here is almost as important as the end state, or at the great state we're at present when it comes to how we use and interact with virtual worlds. And this is if you look on the screen, we have the Goethe principle. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. And that is the principle by which everything in the virtual world, or that has predicated everything we've done in the virtual world. And you'll see this is the principle by which everything else that has happened, which I'll describe through the rest of the talk, happened, and it's because of this Goethe principle. And for UWA, this is how it began. It was in 2007, and out of the blue, I got an email from Mr. Chris Thorne, who was a PhD student at the time. He has graduated. He sent me an email saying he's running a live event at a graphics conference in the US, and he wanted to create an event where people could participate, log in, choose an avatar, and get into a virtual world and communicate, etc. And he asked me, I was manager of computer science at the time, and he asked me if I could provide some server resources to assist him in this. And as soon as I saw this email, a thought struck in my head that this is the person who can help me realize a dream that I had. And the dream I had was to just recreate the University of Western Australia in 3D, so that anyone who was not lucky enough to be able to visit the university in real life could experience the campus, as I thought it was a really beautiful campus. And so I saw this as the person who would help me, because I am a technical zero. And I still think that, I have very little skills when it comes to technical issues. So within a half hour, I had written to him and said, "Hey, I need to discuss things with you." So what that discussion led to was what's called the UWA Virtual Universe project, and this was a little virtual world we built, sitting on a single server in UWA. And if you look on the screen, you'd pick an avatar which were in little pods, and then you would dematerialize and rematerialize at various locations, which were basically panoramic bubbles of various spaces in the university. And that photo you see at the bottom is a 360 image of a space we have at the university called the Somerville Theatre laid flat. Um, it wasn't as impressive as a virtual world like Second Life, but it was something, and it laid the foundations for everything else because we had no money, we had no real ideas and stuff like that. We sent an email out to everyone saying, "Hey guys, we wanted to get UW up in 3D. We're not really sure how we're going to do it. We don't have any money. Who wants to help?" And it was amazing the response we got, from alumni, from staff, from undergraduate students, from postgrads. There were people from overseas who heard about it, who wanted to help, who believed in the project. And this amazing multidisciplinary team started to form through a series of emails. And, that turned into the UWA Virtual Universe project. The next year, we took part in what's called the Google Earth Build Your Campus in 3D competition. And that image you see on the top, um, okay, so you should be seeing something on the screen on the top of me, not the two screens on the right and left. Okay, so it's the screen up on the wall. So the team that took part in this, we won the Australasian version of the Google Earth Build Your Campus in 3D competition, and at one point we had 99% of all 3D buildings in Western Australia built by our team. The most important part of this was that it had national publicity, and change the slide, and we were flown to Google headquarters in Sydney. We spent a day with them. Because of the national publicity, the vice chancellor of the university took notice, and facilities management at UWA started to take notice, and they're in charge of forward planning for the campus, etc. And the buildings at the university, some of them are 100 years old. They didn't have 3D models of the buildings and stuff. So they asked our team to provide them 3D models of the buildings they already had. And we were doing this. And the profile of this team, which was a ragtag team, which came together as a series of emails, started to gain notice. And we started to get funding, like $1,000, which we initially got as part of a National Science Week grant scheme, turned to five, turned to 10, turned to 20, 40, $50,000. And then we really had some funds to do something and move into the next stage of the project. And I'll show you an image of how we actually built the models, the initial models. So we would get the actual building plans from the facilities management, top elevation, side elevation, etc., and build it exactly as per the building plan. So if you go to the University of Western Australia SIM, you will see quite a number of buildings which are real life buildings. They're buildings I studied in. They're buildings I walk past every day. The building that's on the image right now is the building I graduated in. And we built them exactly to scale. And so once we move past those first two stages of the Virtual Universe project and the Google Earth project, then UWA had the funds to begin a presence in Second Life. And so the very first day my avatar came into being was the day we purchased a SIM. The initial idea was just to have a SIM and to recreate the university and have people walk around and enjoy the campus. And that was the only thought we had. However, through serendipity, so many other things happened. I'm not going to go through all those things which happen because it will take too much time. But basically, from nothing, through meeting the right people, the five pillars of what are the foundation stones of the university came to be. And one of the first foundation stones is teaching. Up on the image there, we have a photograph of Professor Wade Halverson, who, um, who does business and marketing in the School of Business, and we built theaters in the sky for him because the students complained about having theaters in classrooms where they sit every day anyway, and they said, if you can do anything with the university, do something out of this world. So instead of creating only a replica of the university, we had things like lecture theaters up 1,000 meters in the sky, so they can fly up and drop into their classes and stuff like that. At the time, it sounded amazing to us, and of course now all of this is pretty normal. But when we first started, all of this was really out of this world. Um, so with architecture, what we ran was an international architectural challenge to provide a model for what would be our flagship arts building. And the photograph you see on the right is an honorable mention prize winner that was sent in by someone from Boston for the architectural challenge we had. We had more than 70 entries from all around the world sent in to the director of the Cultural Precinct, Professor Ted Snell, for the architectural challenge. And I normally have a little joke at this point telling people how my avatar looks exactly like me, because you see a photograph of my avatar there. But of course, it won't work here because you can't actually see my real self. And this is when I do RL presentations. Um, the other cornerstone of what we do is visualization research, and we have yes, yes, Grisella. We all look exactly like our avatars, and you see an image of Paul Burke, the avatar of Paul Burke. He's the director of what's called IVAC at UWA, which is where our supercomputer is. And with visualization research, researchers who are looking into DNA, cells, molecules, looking into cancer cell research, etc., can have their 3D data realized in real time, along with their colleagues from overseas, etc. So, you have real time research happening at the same time. Um, the arts as well is a huge part of our presence. We were on the third week that I had been in Second Life. I was approached by the director of the Cultural Precinct, Professor Ted Snell, and he told me, JJ, I have $2,000 for you. What can you do for arts? And I know nothing about arts. I'd not been into an art gallery for 10 years when I was posed this question. I had no idea about virtual art. And I responded within 5 seconds saying, I'll run a year-long art competition. Now, for anyone who really knows anything about Second Life, um, you'll know that that is a crazy idea to run a year-long art competition for someone without any experience at all in Second Life. Um, but and I was, in fact, I was told that by quite a number of experienced artists that I'm nuts. But well, I'm stubborn and I'd already announced it. So we pushed on ahead. And it turned out to be, one of the most important parts of our presence. I was very lucky that I met some amazing people like Quadrupop Lane and Freewheeling, who were our curators of arts at UWA. And, without them, things would have failed. But every point that I've faced some difficulty, Providence somehow has, sent a few angels along the way to help. Some of them are in this audience as well. Gentle Heron, Ice Sky, Silverweb, Malburns, and things which were grandiose ideas or plans in my head, became reality, because of all of them. Um, and right now, we run what are the biggest art competitions in the virtual world. Not the biggest art events. I mean, the Linden Endowment for the Arts and many other art groups run amazing art events. But in terms of competitions, we have run the biggest art challenges in the virtual world. Do go visit our gallery, and there's lots of art all the time over there. The next major part of the next cornerstone of what we do is machinima, and we've run 7 international machinima challenges. Um, the very first time we ran a machinima challenge, I was literally given 5,000 linden by someone who said, JJ, you have to run a machinima challenge and show people who can't use Second Life, what you guys are doing. And so I had no experience with machinima or anything like that, and I had no idea that in fact 5,000 linden is quite an insult in terms of prize money to run a machinima challenge because of the incredible amount of time needed to create a machinima. I estimate 1 minute of a machinima film takes about 10 to 12 hours to create. So a 5 minute film takes about 60 hours, and 5,000 linden is really small. So as we were going about the first challenge was to, we had the topic of show the teaching, research, art, architecture on the UWA presence in Second Life. Now, as you can imagine, that's an incredibly sexy topic for a budding international filmmaker not. Um, but so I had to spend a lot of time with the machinima makers and to explain to people that we needed this as a way to break that barrier between the virtual and the real, and that and that it was not just trying to get something on the cheap, and so with the films that came in, we strategically, we asked the vice chancellor of the university to be on the judging panel, the director of international marketing, etc. And when they saw the entries that came in, they were blown away. And the next day, for that very first challenge, although we had only advertised it as a 5,000 linden prize pool, the next day after they saw the films, and I told the vice chancellor that UW has put in $0 towards this challenge. The next day we had $1,500 in prizes to give away, and we've had a decent amount ever since. 1,500 real dollars, not Linden dollars. Okay, so at this point, I'll show the second prize winner of that very first challenge, Pillars of UWA. So if you watch the screen that is towards my right, I will attempt to play it. So this is Pillars of UWA by Bradley Dorchester. And I'll also put the link in chat so that those who aren't able to see that screen are able to see it. Um, All right, you might have to zoom in on the screen to get the sound up. Um, Okay, I hope all of you managed to see that machinima. I understand that there are some technical problems, with some people. So anyway, now we move to the community part of the talk. I brought you kind of through the history of the development of the University of Western Australia to get where we are. And one of the first things we tried to do to link to community was to bridge the real and the virtual. So through that Machinima challenge, that was one way. So we got lots of videos that are on YouTube, etc. And so people who had not experienced the virtual world could see it first and get a glimpse of what it was. We also organized a series of events which try to bridge the real and the virtual communities. And the image that you see on the top of the screen there is the very first event we had at UWA. We had the launch of the physics building, and it was simultaneously launching an astronomy art gallery in UWA, which had photos of space taken by a space photographer who was based in Perth. And as you can see, there were two audiences there at the same time, and we had a streaming server focused on the audience in real life and beamed into the virtual. So the Second Life audience could see the real life audience and vice versa. And that was a really amazing experience for me, being able to bridge these two audiences. And it gave me the confidence 2 months after that to have the full launch of UWA. And you see that image on the screen now. We had 150 people in the real life audience, and we had 60 avatars from around the world. And I was brave enough at this point to invite every single manager and professor at UWA to attend. And and so we had lots of people from all over the university watching the screen. And I thank my lucky stars that I didn't have any griefers and stuff like that in the audience, because I had not planned for that. I didn't know about, I didn't know that concept, of griefers, etc. And I didn't really have lots of security, and it went really well, and I'm thankful for that. So that was in trying to bridge the audiences. And the other thing that really helped us. That really helped us cement this bridge between the real and the virtual was the UWA presence in Second Life was selected as one of the 100 treasures of the university by for the centenary of the university, and this was selected by the centenary committee, and of course everything else were real life things at the university. And within 2 years of our presence being established, um, the Second Life presence was selected as one of the treasures of the university, of this university that had existed over 100 years. And this was, truly humbling to all of us to be part of the 100 treasures of UWA. And quite a number of you here today, and many people in the UWA, 3D virtual groups. I have to thank for that. The other link in terms of bridging communities in real life and Second Life was that we did have a realization that it's important to get the media involved in anything we do. Melbourne's over here, who's in the audience, is a major part of why virtual worlds are known, because of the work he does. But we'd also done lots of work with real life media. So you see on the image up there just a number of shots of various spaces that we've managed to luckily bring virtual worlds into the media. And uh, we were featured in Melbourne at a real life film festival called the Other Film Festival. We were on Australian national TV on a program called The Couch, and you can still get a link to that little TV program and play it. We were on national radio. We were on CNN, on the Science Network. We were on the cover of the Artist Chronicle, which is a real life arts newsletter in Western Australia. We won the Examiner. So all kinds of different media around the world, and in Australia, linking real life and second life. Um, and the um, engagement is the is the other way we try to bridge the real and the virtual. And I'm being asked to go a bit slowly for the transcribers. I do apologize. Um, but we do have monthly real life talks, and we've been invited to many places around the world to give talks as well. So we've spoken at the Melbourne Brain Center, and you see the photograph on the bottom right. That's the Melbourne Brain Center, beautiful venue. We were invited to speak there. We have school visits every month where schools come in, high schools come into UWA to have a tour. And I have been asked to give a talk to the visiting students to show them what we do in the virtual world. There are also excursions where I'm invited to visit a school and give a talk there. And We've also had visiting universities, so lecturers and teachers from other universities and colleges have come to visit the university and have asked us to give a presentation on the virtual side of the university. We've also given talks on Second Life through what's called the 3-minute thesis. This is an international competition whereby people speak about their thesis in 3 minutes. And while I'm a staff member at UWA, I'm also a part-time PhD student, and my PhD topic is actually the development of communities in virtual worlds, be it the education community, the arts community, the film community, etc. And giving these 3-minute thesis presentations have helped me develop as an individual, and has also helped reach audiences who aren't normally exposed to virtual worlds. Um, I've also been so really lucky to be invited to Sydney, to Melbourne, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Jeju in South Korea, Barcelona in Spain, to give a presentation similar to what I'm giving you. In my kind of real life job, my normal job at UWA as manager of the School of Physics, I do engage with lots of diverse people. However, because of the fact I'm also involved in the virtual, I've had this incredible opportunity to travel as well and to meet a far wider circle and engage with a far wider circle of people than I would have ever had with just my, quote unquote regular job. Um, Next is the engagement with communities of artists and filmmakers, and we have the UWA 3D Arts Challenge with Freewee Ling as curator. In the first year of the Art Challenge, we had 841 artworks sent in by people from 30 countries. That's more than 3 artworks sent in every single day by someone somewhere in the world. And as all of you know, um, you know, um, these aren't just virtual artworks or just virtual artists. You know, Artists, whether in the virtual or in the real, and artworks in the virtual or the real are artworks. And many people, even in education, sometimes forget that many are guilty of coming into the virtual world, having a class and running out, and not engaging as much as they should. And so it takes a lot of time to make sure that care is taken with the artworks, and care is taken with the artists and the filmmakers. And I'm really grateful to people like Freewee Ling, who has been curator of our arts competitions, for taking such a great care of the artworks. The After the first art challenge, which kind of focused on UWA, all the other film challenges we had were broad and open. So the second film challenge, we asked people, or that we asked the filmmakers to select one of the artworks that were sent in and create a film around the artwork, and so we've given broad themes to the films since then, and the themes have been themes like reflections or seek wisdom, and we've allowed or we've asked the filmmakers to, create whatever film they want around that theme. And we're really lucky that we have artists, filmmakers from 6 of the 7 continents in the world. I have an ongoing award available to any artist or filmmaker from Antarctica who wants to submit something to help us circumnavigate the globe. Okay. Another way we engage with the artist and film community is through the studies in virtual art books. So aside from the virtual exhibitions, where the artworks are temporal in nature, we can't have them there always. Um, we've created real life books of all the film challenges we've had. The most recent ones was the book on the Freedom Project and the book on the Transcending Borders challenges. If you go to the UWA uh, in Second Life website, www.uwainsl.blogspot.com, you'll be able to find all these books as well, the online versions, and you'd be able to get the real versions as well if you'd like. Um, and we also have audience participation events whenever we have the film and art challenges, which is another way we engage with not only the artists and the filmmakers, but we engage with the audience members. And we've given away more than 100,000 Linden in audience participation prizes. And the way we've run the audience participation prizes um, is a way where they are not popularity contests, where you vote for your friends or you vote for an artwork. But we've asked artists, we've asked in the audience members to try and predict what would be the top 10 um, in line with what the actual judging panel would predict. So that way, there isn't the pressure of the artists to try and get their friends to vote for them and stuff like that. And it is a true participation where the audience member wants to go and look at the artworks and present a top 10 rather than feeling a loyalty to a friend, and okay, I'm going to go and vote for my friend. And this is unique to the UWA challenges, the way we run the audience event. Um, the other the other part of community is through teaching, research, and collaboration. We're part of the Australian Virtual Worlds Working Group. It's a very active research working group. We meet every fortnight or every 2 weeks, and it brings academics from all over Australasia, Australian and New Zealand universities together. That's a photo of one of our meetings. We have produced joint papers. We had a 28 institution joint paper at the Asalite conference in 2011, and we've had a joint paper put up every single year since then. So myself, I'm not an academic, as such. Um, However, because of my because I've been allowed to participate in groups like this, I've had 4 journal papers. I've had a book chapter, etc., and that's added a lot of value, to myself personally and for UWA as well. We've run joint classes with the university in Switzerland, where our students and their students had a project together in the at the Dublin Sim, and they came together next and did a presentation the next day. With the University of Kentucky, we have Professor Grady Venville working with her colleague at the University of Kentucky, and and they got our students and their students working together on looking at the path the moon takes in the north and southern hemispheres. Um, with teaching, we've also had various law concepts being taught through Second Life, through through machinima, where we had a machinimatographer in Germany, Lorena Hawks, who was one of the winners of our machinima challenges, working with Professor Natalie Skeed to create a machinima to teach principles of law for the Law 5103 unit called Equity and Trusts. And this was also presented at a number of e-learning conferences and expos as to how we use virtual worlds for teaching. With teaching of anatomy and human biology, we have a partnership between Professor Stuart Bunt and some of his colleagues at the University of Kentucky as well. They have they have an activity where they teach the cranial nervous system using virtual worlds, and so our School of Anatomy, Physiology, and Human Biology worked with them, and we had a challenge as well to create 3D objects and things like that to help in the assistance of teaching students anatomy and human biology. Um, we've also developed a teaching tool on a website called SL Educate. If you look on the screen, that website is is a little MOOC we created, which is a Second Life Basics module designed for educators and students who want to use virtual worlds for the first time in their teaching. And there are a number of other ways to introduce people to Second Life, but this particular method, which was developed by Kamzi Melody, who has been assisting UWA in teaching, she's created this for us, which assists students and educators use virtual worlds for the first time. We've also had lots of other collaborations with other universities. For instance, Southern Illinois University and UWA created the Sonic Lab. We've worked with a university in Venezuela, sorry, my avatar's turning around, the Rafael Beloso Chachin University, and also Canada's York University, who worked with us to teach one of their virtual arts units in second year. We've also had UWA's Nobel Prize winner on Second Life, Professor Barry Marshall. He's featured in a machinima created by Soda Lemon Drop, and the machinima created by Soda, called Seek Wisdom, was winner of a special award for the 5th UWA International Short Animated Film Challenge. And you see a photograph of Barry over there with his avatar. The other way we've engaged with our communities is through some of my friends. And you see an image of a friend of mine up there. That's Diane. That's her avatar. So if you look up on screen, this part, it's quite important to have a look at the screen. So you see Diane over there, and Diane's flying. And I met Diane in real life as well last year for the first time. And I'll show you what she looks like in real life. So that's what my friend Diane looks like in real life. So you can see how beautiful she is. That's Diane in real life. Hope it's res for everyone. And I'll show you another photo of Diane as well. So this is another photo of Diane. And meeting her actually opened my eyes to a whole new world, really. It opened my eyes to how much more value Second Life provides. And she inspired the Freedom Project, which we ran. And we ran an event for artists and filmmakers with disabilities or chronic illnesses. And we ran this in partnership with Virtual Ability Inc. Or Vi, and shout out to Gentle Heron and Ice Guy and everyone in Vi, with the Center for ME, CFS, and Other Invisible Illnesses in Second Life, run by Diane, where Diane is one of the main partners, and with DADA, which is a real life organization in Western Australia called Disability in the Arts, Disadvantage in the Arts, so who help individuals who have disabilities or chronic illnesses through art. And it was an amazing, amazing event. Some of the artworks that were produced for the Freedom Project are still there. You can go see them. You can also see them in the Freedom Project book. If you Google Freedom Project book UWA, you'll find the book. I'll show you some of the artworks, and people were so willing to share of themselves as well. So people provided the artwork, and they shared with us whatever they were willing to share about their real lives and about how virtual worlds help them find their freedom. So, um, so I'm going to show you a few of the artworks, and if you look up on the screen, you'll see an image of the artwork along with their personal story. And this first artwork was sent in by an artist from France by the name of Ama Avro, and I'd just like to read what she shared. For me, Second Life is my second life. When one is led to live a half life for health reasons, for example, Second Life gives us the opportunity to dream, to make new discoveries, improbable encounters, share knowledge, create, without moving from our chair, without leaving our room. Sitting on a chair, I can travel, travel from the darkness to light in the joy of creation. Learn and travel with the child's soul. Ama Avro, France. Next, I'd like to share the words of Johnny Lane from Salem, Missouri. I feel I was given my talent because of the abuse I had as a baby. My mother broke my neck, an arm, a leg, and 3 ribs. I also suffer from depression and nerve issues. Second Life has helped me open up more. The Freedom Project is making my dreams come true. I haven't been this happy in a long time. Next, Kristali Rabeni of Blackpool, England, and her beautiful artwork. You see where it leads you through a dark tunnel to the light. And her words, we all need a helping hand now and then, some more than others. My helping hand came in the form of Second Life. It was the light at the end of a very long, dark, lonely tunnel of depression. Next, I'd like to share the artwork of iSky Silverweb of Green Bay, Wisconsin. iSky is here today, and she helped me prepare for this presentation. In iSky's words, in real life, I am deaf. I have had an active online life since the late 80s, early 90s. But when I discovered Second Life in 2009, it changed my world. All of a sudden, I was not only able to interact, I could do meaningful things with other people and be part of communities. In real life, I'm at a huge disadvantage with other people, especially in groups, because I cannot hear conversations, and I'm far less confident about what I can contribute to those conversations. Here, that disappears. This is hugely empowering. I have a voice in text, and I have the freedom to do more. And in that image, if you look at the image of the hands, the red hands, that's actually the symbol for freedom in American Sign Language. The other way that we've linked to this part of the community is through a joint trans-Pacific collaboration where our curator, Freewee Ling, worked with Tim Maley, who is an artist in Western Australia who has developmental disabilities. And he creates these um, drawings of butterflies. And if you look at the photo on the screen and you see the image at the bottom left, you'll see his photographs. And the Dada organization approached us and asked us if we could bring his butterflies to life. And what Freewheeling did was she took his 2D butterfly images and transformed these into a garden full of thousands of butterflies using his artwork as the templates for the creation of the butterflies flying around. And in the image on the right, you see the event we had in real life where we had the artist and his family come and watch the launch of the Tim Maley Butterfly Garden. And you can still go visit the Butterfly Garden in real life. And I know that I think I only have 2 minutes left. I am at the end of what I want to say. I do have one last film I want to show, and that film is a film by Tutsi Navaratna, um, which won the seventh film challenge that we had. Tutsi Navaratna is a filmmaker from Pondicherry in India. So what I'll do though, since I don't have much time, is I will ask for any questions from the floor for maybe 2 minutes, and then I'll officially call a close to it. But then I'll play the film, so those who have time can watch the film. Um, thank you everyone for your patience. Are there any questions?
There's one question that it came up already, JJ, on text chat. It says, how many prims in the UWA in SL? Did you need to get an exception from LL to have that many?
All right. So the question I had was how many prims are there in Second Life on the UWA sims? UWA have actually 5 sims. Four of the full sims are on our own, and the fifth sim is a partnership sim with the University of Illinois. So we have 32. We have 64,000 sims on our 4 sims, and another 16,000 sims in partnership with the University of Illinois. We have the educational discount, however, it is expensive, and the UW presence is guaranteed through the end of 2016, but it's always a challenge to try and continue to have funding. So we'll see how things go. Are there any other questions?
There's another question that came up. It says UWA has had such a successful venture in SL. Many other universities have struggled or closed their sites. Any particular advice to them?
Um, so I hope everyone heard that question. So I won't repeat the question. It the only reason we succeeded, or we have been successful, is because of the community, and that is the only reason we're there. If we just focused on having art, oh sorry, if we focus on having teaching, then it won't really be anything, because teaching and lectures happen only at various times. You have a class. The class happens twice a week, and then that's it. The students come, the lecturer comes, lecturer gives the talk, and then it goes, and then there isn't a continuing presence. It's because we're spread across arts and film and teaching and research, which is why I think we've been successful. The art actually has put a foundation for our presence, and that the artwork is there's relevance almost every single day to coming and visiting, and having a presence, working with the media. So you actually need to kind of work all around to be successful. And a lot of universities, although you see, although it sounds impressive, um, in reality, many academics are individuals, one or two individuals in a university, almost working on their own with very little support from the central university. The same is true of UWA. However, we've been a bit lucky in terms of things falling into place at the right moments. But in many universities, it is one or two individuals working on their own, and and the key is to getting into networks of other researchers across other universities, and showing the central universities all these collaborations that have been brought about through Second Life. And I think that is the key, showing them what you've done, and what additional things that you've been able to do because of the presence in the virtual world. Um, okay, let me see if there are any other questions. Uh,
I didn't see any others pop up on text chat, JJ.
all right. So what I'll do is, then I'll say thank you to all of you. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will finish off by playing Metaphor, which is the winner of the Transcending Borders Film Challenge that we had. And this film was created by Tutsi Navaratna, who's a Frenchman living in Pondicherry, India. And he's been one of the most successful filmmakers, who's participated in our film challenges. I'll also share the link for anyone not able to see the screen. So this is Metaphor by Tutsi Navaratna.
Thank you all very much for coming. I know that some of you may still be watching the video, but in the interest of time, we appreciate your being here. JJ, thank you so much for closing our wonderful conference. It's been tremendous to have you here. Just a couple of reminders to our audience: we do have our closing program with a very special announcement. So we would love for you to be here. As well. So please, don't go away. Just a couple more hours, and then you can also close this conference with a nice little party. Thank you so much.